You know that feeling when you put on an old winter coat and boom, you find a $20 bill tucked away in the pocket? It's a fantastic feeling, right? Well, imagine that exact same feeling, but instead of 20 bucks, it's hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. And instead of your coat pocket, it's just sitting in a government vault, literally waiting for you to claim it. Welcome to this explainer on discovering hidden assets. Today, we are going on a real-life treasure hunt. We're going to look at exactly how you can find and claim unclaimed money in the state of Maine. And the best part? It is entirely for free. To really grasp the scale of what we are talking about here, just take a look at this massive number, $393 million. Guys, this isn't just loose change you find in the couch cushions. This is the staggering amount of unclaimed property the state of Maine is holding on to right this very second, at least according to recent Treasury reports. That is a massive pool of wealth. It belongs to everyday citizens, businesses, organizations who honestly just have no idea it even exists. And a piece of that? Well, it could very well belong to you, your family, or your friends.
So here is our treasure map for today's explainer. First, Maine's $393 million mystery. 2. How to search for free. 3. Success stories and myths. 4. Dodging scams and fake fees. 5. Estates and national searches. And finally, number 6. Claim your money today.
Section 1. Maine's $393 million mystery. Okay, let's dive into this.
And figure out where this huge pile of money actually comes from. I mean, how on earth does a state end up with nearly $400 million of other people's money? Well, it actually happens way more easily and way more often than you might think. It all comes down to a concept called unclaimed property. Basically, these are financial assets that are considered lost or abandoned when the owner just can't be located after a certain period of inactivity. The state calls this a dormancy period, and it's usually around 3 years. Think about your own life for a second. Have you ever moved apartments and, just forgot to get your utility deposit back? Or maybe you left a job and never went back for that final physical paycheck. How about a health insurance reimbursement check you just kind of forgot to cash? Or even an old school savings account your parents opened for you when you were a kid? When banks and businesses can't find you, maybe because you moved or changed your name, state law actually requires them to hand those dormant funds over to the state treasurer. Oh, and one quick note here, actually pretty important. Unclaimed property only refers to financial assets, so we aren't talking about real estate, animals, or vehicles.
Section 2. How to search for free. Now that we know what this money is and how it gets lost in the first place, let's get to the really good part, empowering you to go out there and actually find it. The process to reunite you with your cash is incredibly straightforward, and I really want to emphasize this heavily. Doing this through the state treasurer's official resources is completely 100% free. Here's the game plan. Step 1. You just visit the official portal at maineunclaimedproperty.gov. Again, totally free and secure state service. You just type in your full legal name, maybe any past names, and run a search. If you get a hit, boom, you move to step 2. You select the property and click Continue to File Claim. It'll ask you to fill out your info and submit some proof of ownership, like a copy of your ID or maybe proof that you lived at a specific past address tied to those funds. And step 3, you can easily track your claim's progress online through their dedicated status page using the claim number they email you. It is literally that simple.
But here's the thing. The database is only as good as the historical records submitted. Sometimes those old bank records have typos or weird formatting, and this brilliantly illustrates why a little bit of search strategy can make a huge difference, making sure you don't miss out. So use these database hacks straight from the state. First, if you have a compounded last name, try it with and without spaces. So type ST-Pierre as one solid word, and then search again using ST-Pierre with a space. Same goes for apostrophes, right? Search O'Brien with the apostrophe, but absolutely try O'Brien without it too. Actually, here's a really big one. Omit your middle initial when you first search. Throwing a middle initial in there might actually restrict your results too much and hide a valid match if the original bank just never bothered to record it. Also, the system is pretty smart with common nicknames, so searching Mike will usually pull up Michael. But for unique spellings like Candace with an I versus Candace with an A, you're going to want to do separate searches for those. And finally, when you first start your search, leave the city and zip code fields totally blank. You want to cast the absolute widest net possible before you start filtering things down.
Section 3. Success stories and myths. Now, it's super easy to sit there and think, well, it's probably just a couple of bucks, why bother even looking? But I want to pivot to some real-world proof that might just change your mind. Take a look at this number, $1.447 million. Yeah, you heard that right. In a recent February report from the state treasurer, they pointed out that the highest single claim paid out that month to a Maine resident was for over $1.4 million. And get this, that was just from an uncashed check. On top of that, another claim paid out over $6 million in stock. Now, obviously, finding millions is for sure the exception, not the rule. But finding hundreds or thousands of dollars, that is incredibly common. In just one recent month, the state paid out over $5 million across more than 28,000 individual claims. The money is flowing back to the people, but you have to be the one to initiate the process.
And that brings us to a huge misconception. A lot of folks hesitate to search because they believe this very persistent myth. They think, well, I moved 10 years ago, surely the state just kept that money and absorbed it into their budget by now, right? Actually, that is entirely false. Under Maine's revised Unclaimed Property Act, the state acts as a perpetual custodian. What that means for you is there is absolutely no time limit to claim your funds. None. The state never takes true ownership of your money. They just hold it in trust, completely free of charge, literally forever, until you or your legal heirs come forward to claim it.
Section 4. Dodging scams and fake fees. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is
how it highlights a really serious issue. Because where there is a massive pool of money, there are inevitably going to be bad actors trying to take a cut of it. So let me ask you this directly, and it's a stark question. Has someone contacted you offering to reunite you with lost money, but they're demanding a fee or a percentage of your claim up front? If the answer is yes, pump the brakes immediately. You should never, ever have to pay a fee to claim your own money from the state of Maine. There are these third-party businesses out there, sometimes they call themselves heir finders or locators, who literally just buy public lists of unclaimed property and then try to charge you a fee for information you could easily find yourself for free on the state's website. And honestly, worse yet, there are outright scammers who use phone calls, emails, and fake letters to trick people into paying upfront fees for property that might not even exist.
Now, the Treasurer's Office and state lawmakers do sometimes proactively mail notices to citizens if they find a match. But how do you actually know if the mail you're holding is legitimate or if it's a scam? Just keep this official checklist in mind. Authentic mail from the state treasurer will always have an Augusta return address. It's going to feature the official State of Maine seal, and it will contain the signature of Treasurer Joseph Perry. But most importantly, any web links they direct you to will always be official government websites. That means the URL absolutely must end in .gov. If you get a letter asking for a credit card number or directing you to a .com website to claim Maine state funds, that's a red flag. Report it to the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division.
Section 5. Estates and national searches.
So far, we've mostly talked about finding your own money in Maine. But what if the money actually belonged to a loved one who has passed away? When you're searching that database, you absolutely should be searching the names of your deceased parents, grandparents, or other relatives. If you find a match, you can claim it as their legal heir. Now, I know what you're thinking. Dealing with the court system to prove you are the heir can seem incredibly daunting. But thankfully, Maine law provides this really great probate shortcut called the small estate affidavit. Basically, if your deceased relative's estate is valued at under $40,000, and that's a threshold that actually adjusts for inflation, you can use this affidavit to entirely bypass formal, full-blown probate court proceedings. The state provides the specific estate affidavit form right on their website, making it so much easier and faster for rightful heirs to collect those smaller amounts of forgotten funds left behind by family members.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because people rarely stay in one state their entire lives, right? I mean, if you lived in New York, went to college in Massachusetts, and then eventually moved to Maine, you could easily have unclaimed property sitting in 3 totally different state treasuries. But don't worry, you don't have to go and search 50 different state websites. You can actually expand your search nationally by visiting missingmoney.com. This is a totally free website sponsored by NAUPA, that's the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators. It basically allows you to search participating state databases all at once. If it finds a match in another state, it'll provide you with a direct, safe link right to that specific state's official government program so you can start your claim out of state.
Section 6. Claim your money today. All right, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the types of property just waiting to be found to the specific search hacks you really need to use to protecting yourself from scammers. Now it is time for action. As State Treasurer Joseph Perry says, each and every year, tens of millions of dollars go unclaimed. Help spread the word about this free service. Guys, the state genuinely wants to give this money back. In fact, they recently returned over $40 million in a single year to rightful owners, but they just can't do it without you taking that very first step. So please, make it a habit to check periodically. Right after this explainer, I want you to go to maineunclaimedproperty.gov. Search your name, search your maiden name, search your parents' names, and even search your business's name. And then,
Tell your friends and your family to do the exact same thing. Spread the word.
So the crucial point is that while this information is designed to guide you and help you out, results are not guaranteed. Every single claim is unique, and you should always consult the official government resources we've discussed today, or definitely seek professional legal and financial advice if you are dealing with complex estate matters. But remember, searching is completely free, and it literally only takes a few minutes of your time. What could be waiting for you right now, hidden in plain sight just a few clicks away? Well, there's only one way to find out. Happy hunting, and thank you so much for joining us on this explainer.